This spring, I was required to attend a department training called Creating Gender Inclusive Schools. The training began with a statement made by a staff member that included the statement, "No matter what the pushback, we are not going back," regarding the gender inclusion approach in our district. We were given the definition of gender according to this speaker. Gender is determined by time and space, boy, girl, a blend of both, or neither, none of which were based on biology. A statement was also made that because of white supremacy, gender expansiveness has been suppressed. Most concerning from this presentation was the depiction of a gender snow person. The head represents gender identity, what you know yourself to be. The middle represents sexual orientation, whom you love or are attracted to. The speaker said that for our youngest learners, we can use the words romantically attracted to if the word sexual is going to be a problem. And that even preschoolers know the difference between love for a mom or dad and love for someone else. The bottom of the snow person represents the sex assigned at birth, boy, girl, or intersex. It was stated that all of these are non-binary. He also said, yes, we are going to talk about this with young students. This is disturbing to be talking about romantic relationships with kids who are as young as preschool, not what the schools are intended for. The next topic was pronouns. The presenter started by telling us that some people are now using all the pronouns. We were told that this is not a big deal, that students feel safer at school than at home. He referenced a Google form that students could complete where they would indicate the pronouns and name that they want to be called at school and the pronoun or name to use with their parents. Is this allowed without parents' knowledge? Regardless, is it now our job to keep secrets? Why are we undermining the family and the influence of parents and/or guardians? Thank you.
A long last name is Amanchukwu. It means I know God. And I'm glad to say that I do. I'm here today to talk about this book here. My name is John Amanchukwu, as I stated earlier. It's called It's Perfectly Normal for Students 10 and Up. This book details all kinds of sexual images, pictures of elderly people nude, pictures of an individual who's in a wheelchair with his penis out. All of these sexual pornographic images are made available and placed at the fingertips of children. And I'm sure, Dr. Cruz, I don't know if you knew about this before you signed on, but hopefully this is something that you can address and deal with, because this is immoral and asinine to allow children to be able to see this. Also, this book even shows images of two women having sex, a man and a woman having sex, and two men having sex. That's not perfectly normal. Who decides what's normal? Is it you? Is it you? Is it you? Is it you? Or do parents decide what should be placed at the fingertips and allowed to be taught to their children in the school system? I'll read some of this for you. It says, after a bit, a person's vagina becomes moist and slippery, and the clitoris becomes hard. After a bit, a person's penis becomes erect, stiff, and larger.
Pastor.
Sometimes a bit of clear fluid that may contain a few sperm comes out of the tip of the penis and makes it wet.
Can we, sir, I'm sorry.
Was it something I said? Was it something I said? If you don't want to hear it in a school board meeting, why should children be able to check it out of the school system? You see, we have perverts that are perverting our kids. And you all sit back smug in your chairs and celebrate diversity, equity, and inclusion, but you don't want me to read it so you can hear it. Why? Does it bother you? Yes or no? You can't answer that question. You want to know why? Because politically speaking, you can't say that it's wrong. You probably are a Christian man, but many Christians today have become more Democrat than Christian. Some Republicans have become more Republican than Christian. I'm not trying to win an election. I don't get my talking points from the RNC or the DNC. I get my talking points from the Bible, from the Bible. And you don't want me to read the filth because it exposes the truth. How dare you tell me to stop reading it? If you don't want to hear it, why should the children have to see it?
Pastor, your time is up. Thank you.
On that Tuesday morning, I was taken out of gym class to sit down with two adults for what turned out to be a very uncomfortable talk. I was told that people were complaining about the words on my shirt, that my shirt was making some students feel unsafe. Yes, words on a shirt made people feel unsafe. They told me that I wasn't in trouble, but it sure felt like I was. What did my shirt say? 5 simple words. There are only 2 genders. Nothing harmful, nothing threatening, just a statement I believe to be a fact. I have been told that my shirt was targeting a protected class. Who is this protected class? Are their feelings more important than my rights? I don't complain when I see pride flags and diversity posters hung throughout the school. Do you know why? Because others have a right to their beliefs just as I do. Not one person, staff, or student told me that they were bothered by what I was wearing. Actually, just the opposite. Several kids told me that they supported my actions and that they wanted one too.
It used to be a given that porn would not be available to kids at school. We had National Geographic, but that's about it. In my challenge, I cited many examples in context that are pornography by definition. That include sexually explicit writing and images whose primary purpose is to cause sexual arousal, that contain lurid or sensational material, vivid description or explicit details that are meant to provoke or shock, and materials that are arousing or intended to arouse strong curiosity, interest, or reaction, especially by exaggerated or lurid details. But our school librarian gives it a thumbs up for minors in school without parental consent or any record that they checked it out. Number 4, parental consent should be required for minors checking out the book. The author is a grown adult writing about their personal sex experiences and gender identity journey for a target audience of teens. If a staff member at school can't share their personal sex experience to a student in the library, why can this adult whisper it in the student's ear in the same room? Loopholes. This is book banning. It's not. Just go get it somewhere else. Removing this book is anti-LGBTQIA+. No, it's anti-porn content in school and anti-sexualization of minors in school. If the book was an adult heterosexual author talking about porn culture using sex toys and literally having sex in the book, that's also not okay for a school library.
Everyone, I'm the mom of 4 children and my oldest is 25 years old. And in the years that we have been parents to our daughter and 3 sons, my husband and I have had to sign many, many consent forms and permission slips. I'm required to sign a permission slip if my children leave campus for a field trip. I'm required to give the school a list of adults who are and are not allowed to pick my children up from school. If I want my kids to have access to the school library, consent form. Get a cough drop, consent form. So my question to you, GUSD, is where is the consent form that gives this school district or any other school district permission to discuss, diagnose, or affirm my child's sexual orientation or gender identity? Any child in almost any school, at least in the state of California, can approach a teacher in a so-called safe space, tell them they identify as the opposite gender without a diagnosis from a trained mental health professional, and these teachers have the right to hide this information from the parents, hide the student file, alter the gender on the file, affirm the new identity, use their new preferred pronouns, and begin the process of helping them transition, all under the guise of love, inclusion, and mental health. This is not love. Thank you.
Tonight I'm filled with righteous indignation. I want to define something for you tonight. The definition for pervert. It means to alter something from its original course, meaning, or state to a distortion or corruption of what was first intended. It means to lead someone away from what is considered right, natural, or acceptable. This book has been permitted in 6 schools in the Wake County public school system. This book explicitly details anal sex, blowjob tips, a response to a letter about gay sex, and BDSM. I'll read just a little bit of this perversion that we have allowed in the school system. So he bends me over the bed and drizzles some lube on my ASS. I made him wear a condom, of course, and he starts pushing it in. And then we get to the blowjob tips. It says, use your lungs to suck, not your lips to pull. You're not trying to yank the D-I-C-K off with your mouth. You're trying to make it feel good. Use your tongue. Doesn't it make you cringe as I read that to you? I witnessed as each person came up and read different things from the books that's in the public school system here. You all cringe. You don't like it. You don't want to hear it aloud. You don't want anyone to read it. It makes you crawl in your skin. It's a dastardly deed. The question today is, who is the pervert that's allowing this to be purchased and delivered to our libraries? Come out from wherever you are. Who is the pervert that signs off on this filth? Who are you? Can you be in your right mind and be decent as a human to allow this to be at the access and the fingertips of children? Who is the pervert that thinks that this is okay? Who is the pervert that sits smug in the school board meeting while this takes place? Who is it? You don't have to answer that question. We know who the perverts are. There's one political party in this country that supports this junk. It's the Democrat Party. It's a party that castrates children, mutilates children, perverts children, grooms children, murders children, and indoctrinates children. We know who the perverts are. And NCAE, listen, you all have signed off on this, and it needs to be removed from every school.
Your time is up,
in
sir. Our
Wake
next
County.
speaker is Julie Page.